The medieval battlefield is often imagined as a brutal contest decided by sheer numbers and physical strength. Yet a closer examination of key engagements reveals that intelligence, preparation, and adaptability were frequently far more decisive than numerical superiority. A striking example is the Battle of Agincourt, where the English army, led by Henry V, weakened by disease and fatigue and vastly outnumbered by the French, transformed a desperate situation into a legendary victory through calculated use of terrain and weaponry. By choosing a narrow field hemmed in by woods and recently soaked by rain, the English forced the French cavalry and heavily armored knights into a constricted advance over deep mud, where their mobility collapsed and their formations broke apart, while the English longbowmen, protected by sharpened stakes, unleashed continuous volleys that turned the battlefield into chaos, ultimately proving that preparation and environmental awareness could neutralize even the most formidable force. Equally illustrative is the Battle of Morgarten, where the Swiss Confederates, lacking the numbers and prestige of the Habsburg army, relied on strategic foresight and intimate knowledge of the landscape. By setting an ambush along a narrow mountain pass bordered by a lake and steep slopes, they trapped the Austrian troops in a confined space where their cavalry and formations could not deploy effectively, then launched a sudden attack with rocks, logs, and close combat weapons, creating panic and disarray that quickly escalated into a rout, demonstrating how control over geography could outweigh conventional military advantages. The Battle of the Golden Spurs offers another powerful case, as Flemish militias, composed largely of urban infantry, faced the elite French chivalry. Instead of meeting cavalry in open ground, the Flemish anchored their defensive lines in marshy terrain and fortified positions, employing tightly packed formations of pikes and Guden dogs that disrupted charges and pulled knights from their horses, turning the supposed superiority of mounted warfare into a vulnerability, and marking a significant shift in the perception of infantry's role on the battlefield. In contrast, the Battle of Legnica highlights a different dimension of strategic dominance, where the Mongols, though not always numerically superior, leveraged unmatched mobility, coordination, and psychological tactics to dismantle European coalitions. By executing feigned retreats, rapid redeployments, and coordinated attacks using mounted archers, they lured fragmented European forces into pursuit, broke their cohesion, and then encircled them with devastating precision, revealing a level of operational planning and flexibility that Western armies of the time struggled to comprehend or counter. Across these examples, a consistent pattern emerges. Victory in medieval warfare was rarely determined by numbers alone, but rather by the ability to shape the conditions of battle, whether through terrain selection, disciplined formations, technological advantages, or innovative tactics. Commanders who understood these principles could convert apparent weakness into overwhelming strength, while those who relied blindly on numerical superiority often found themselves trapped by their own assumptions, underscoring a timeless lesson that extends beyond the medieval world. Strategy, not size, is the true determinant of success in conflict.